Greetings, friends. Thank you for joining us for Life with Me, Myself, and I Am. This week's episode has been sponsored by Diane Richmond with Young Living Essential Oils. Young Living's Seed to Seal Guarantee offers you an all-natural alternative to daily products that promote personal health and well-being. If you want to find out more about Young Living, check out Diane's info in the show notes. Vals House would like to thank Diane for her continued support of Life with Me, Myself, and I Am. And now, back to our show.
Well, hi there. Welcome to Me, Myself, and I Am. I'm Stephanie Fagans.
I'm Lynette Jewell.
And we're so glad to introduce you to our guest today. Her name is Sharon Bressler. She is a teacher, coach, mentor, missionary, guidance counselor, world traveler, and children's book author.
Oh, thank you.
That's a
lot of things.
That is a lot of things. And I first met you while you were on a summer break visiting your parents, retired missionaries and teachers, Ralph and Dorothy Bressler.
Yes, that's true. I came to the Orchard Road Church, Baptist Church, and fell in love with it, actually.
Well, that's true here too. That's true with us too. Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself and your experiences as a missionary and then teaching.
So my parents were missionaries. As you said, their parents were missionaries. So I'm a third generation missionary, and I grew up in Southeast Asia, in Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. My parents were at a school in Vietnam for missionary kids, and because of the war, it moved to Thailand and then to two different locations in Malaysia. So I was there.
Wow.
I came back for university, went to community college for 2 years, and then to Seattle Pacific University and got my teaching degree. So I taught for 5 years in a Christian school in the U.S. Then I went to a Christian mission school in Haiti in Port-au-Prince for 9 years. And then I've been here at Roslyn since 1994 in Nairobi, just outside of Nairobi, Kenya.
Wow. World traveler is correct then.
Yes. World liver, I guess.
World liver. Yeah. And you spent some time in Seattle too, right?
So, yeah, I taught in Seattle. I lived in Seattle. I was born in Seattle. But I think if you add everything up together, it was like 17 years I've lived in the U.S.
Wow.
And that's all.
No, not really. Tell us a little bit about Roslyn Academy.
So Roslyn is a school that was started over 70 years ago in Tanzania. It was started by the Eastern Mennonites to school their children. And because of malaria, it moved to Nairobi. Nairobi is at where we're at is about 5,000 feet from sea level. So when you think of Africa and the savannas and the plains and so on, that's not Nairobi. Not really. So it's cooler up here, and there aren't mosquitoes. Well, there are mosquitoes, but they're not malarial. So they came and they bought 40 acres of what was a coffee plantation.
Ooh.
Since that time, the Southern Baptists and the Assemblies of God have bought into the school. And since I've been here, it's grown from about 300 to over 600 kids.
Wow.
So students from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, American curriculum, usually over 50 different nationalities of students, over 70 different Christian organizations and missions who are served, as well as students from embassies and business and the United Nations and so on and so forth. So a lot of diversity, even with the fact that we have kids who are Muslim and Hindu and so on, but we are a Christian school, and we are we are, I can't remember the word they use, but we're not ashamed to be Christian.
Amen.
Our teachers are Christian. I preach the gospel to kids.
Awesome. And I hear you're also a guidance counselor now.
So about 8 to 10 years ago, I don't even know how long. I can't remember these things. I had been coaching and doing the athletic director job, and I figured that out. So I took on the guidance counselor job, and I really like it. I get a chance to more easily speak into kids' lives and listen to their dreams and sometimes their disappointments. And I talk to them about their Christian faith. And I also teach. So we have about 61 seniors. So my job is mainly taken up with juniors and seniors.
Wow, that'll keep you busy.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
And
yeah, because most of our kids are going to go to university. So think, of writing that many recommendations.
That's awesome. And I think it's amazing that you've had such an opportunity to travel, to do so much travel. And I know me, I haven't had that privilege too much yet. That'll change some, right? But, my extent of travel is normally the I-35 corridor between Texas and Missouri, where I was born. And that's where most of my family. But, you said you're a third-generation missionary. Tell us what it's like about growing up in a missionary family.
There's not much more. There's not something much more that's better. We were poor, but I don't think I knew we were that poor.
Yeah.
But, we traveled, we saw the world. I've been to Hawaii just because it was on the way back from Asia, and at that time going on a passenger freighter or a passenger liner or a freighter costs as much as going by air. So we were on a passenger liner one time across the Pacific, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Butterfly hunting and going in waterfalls, and it was idyllic for a kid.
That's awesome. And I'm going to try that next time I go to Missouri to visit the family. I'm going to go by way of Hawaii. I think it's right along.
Yeah, just a little bit out of the way, but hey, it's worth it.
Maybe I'll see you there.
Hey, Sharon, what's the biggest challenge you faced working out of the country?
The biggest challenge I faced was when my parents got sick. Mm-hmm. I didn't know my mom was that sick. Yeah. And she died before I could see her again. Mm-hmm. I didn't know my dad was that sick. And I died. He died I got there, we talked, he took himself off medication, and he died not that night, but the following night. So my times of goodbye didn't really much happen. Mm-hmm. And that's hard. That's very, very hard. I, however, am one of the lucky ones because my sister lives here. She also teaches at Roslyn. And so I've been a part of her life and seen the lives of her children in ways that most people in my position don't get to do. But I would say family. Mm-hmm. That's the hardest.
Yeah. Well, wow. We've met your sister, too, and her family, and they're just lovely. And it's great when y'all were able to all get together those couples of summers and just kind of share some family time together. That was awesome.
We were up in Texas for my nephew's wedding. So my nephew Micah just got married in San Antonio, outside of San Antonio. We arrived, we were there, and we left. It was really, really fast. But, it was great that we could do that, even with COVID.
I'm so sorry for your loss. I mean,
Thank you.
didn't know your parents really well. I had an opportunity to meet them a couple times when we would do conferences or things at Orchard Road, and just the sweetest nature. And I remember your dad's smile in particularly. So it's a great people. Sharon, what do you consider like your biggest success?
Wow. I don't know. I would say helping to lead some kids to Christ, for sure. Trying to speak into their lives. Not a lot, not all of them, of course, but I've had students through the years from different schools write me and say, you made a difference in my life. Mm. And sometimes you don't know. One was just a girl who, she was here in my class. She had a notebook and she was writing, and it wasn't what I wanted her writing. And I took it away from her for the class period. She was unhappy with me. Then later, I don't remember doing this, but she did. She wrote something and I just wrote, "You're a fantastic writer," or something along that line. And she went into writing. Uh-huh. And she sent me a copy. She self-published a book, and she sent me a copy and said, "Thank you." So, you don't know really what impact you're making or what difference you can make. But I still have, amazing to me, some of the kids who come to see me when they come back home are my Muslim and Hindu kids. And they know what I want for them. Yeah. But they still come. So that's really cool. And I'll pray with them, say.
What are the biggest barriers in teaching kids from different faiths?
To represent Christ without putting it down their throat.
Agreed.
With respecting them, respecting their parents, but letting them know that you want more for them. Mm. So sometimes, when I have a kid who I know is not a Christian and I'm talking to him, I'll say, tell me about your belief in Jesus Christ. Mm. And then sometimes I'll say something along the line that I said to a kid earlier this week. You've been here since 4th grade. How has Roslyn being Christian impacted you? Mm-hmm. Have you ever considered? Have you asked Jesus to show his face to you? Those kinds of things. And still have a relationship with them. And I will ask Muslim parents, Hindu parents, whatever, I'll say to them, when they come in, do you want me to pray for you? For your son, for you, whatever. And nobody has turned me down. And some of them have cried. Oh. So, I'm hoping I'm making a difference, but really that's for the Holy Spirit. I put it out there. He brings them in.
Wow. Hey, speaking of your students, how are they coping with either learning online? And I think, have y'all gone back to in-person teaching yet?
We are 100% in person now.
Okay.
These kids have to wear a mask all day, which if they're not in my office and I'm in my office alone, I don't have to have it on. But when I teach, it's on the whole time. So, unless we're eating or whatever, we've got masks on. But we've got a sports program going. We've got drama going. We've got all of our classes going. We're just all masked up, and we've got hand sanitizer everywhere. And when I walk in the classroom, I spray down the desk. They come in, they wipe them down. So we're trying to do what we can. Every morning I take my temperature, put it into a computer program that tells them I've taken my temperature and I don't have COVID and I don't have these symptoms, and they have to do the same. So I think for the most part, we're all pretty good with being back in school.
That's awesome.
It's a whole lot nicer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The one-on-one and being able to reach out and touch
Yeah.
someone is so much better indeed.
We're social
It's,
distance, I've got the desks run around the room
air
and
hugs.
the masks on
Air-
and, and we're air hugging and fist bumping or whatever, but it's good. It's really good.
Well, Stephanie, I think I know the challenge of making sure us as a vessel is we stay encouraged. We try to stay encouraged as well, because you can't give out what you don't have in here, right? So Stephanie is the president of the board at Vals House, and I'm the executive director. And there are times with what we face, it's heartbreaking, or sometimes just things aren't going together. So we're on the phone or we're texting and we're crying. I just really need someone to pray for me right now. So we try to keep one another uplifted and encouraged. So you teachers giving out so much to your students, how do you encourage one another as teachers?
Well, there's a group of us in the guidance office, and we'll laugh and we'll talk, and my neighbors and I get together and we play cards and we laugh and we talk and we go out for, there is not as much COVID here as there is in the US. So it's actually, I go out to restaurants. My nephew and I go out to eat on Sundays. And, people here, you go to the mall, we have malls here, and we go to the mall and everybody is masked up. Nobody says, I'm not going to do this. They just do it. So it does make life easier. And we just do. There are worse things than putting on a mask and hand sanitizing. And none of our kids have died and none of our staff have died. And so we just praise the Lord for that. And we keep going. And if this country tells us we have to close again, we close. Yeah. And we go back to online learning. But this is a whole lot better.
Absolutely.
Have you done any ministry work in Kenya? Other than at the school?
I haven't done anything recently. Originally, we had a Bible study in the evenings for a group of Kenyan ladies. And even when my mom was here, she, did a craft with them, and we did a Bible lesson, and I got to know all these Kenyan ladies. But at the time, they lived on our campus, and slowly, they moved them off. Mm-hmm. And you don't do much out at night here because it can be dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Is that the time that your mom rode an ostrich?
I'm sorry, say again.
Was that one of the times your mom rode an ostrich?
Oh, no, she did that. We actually went to an ostrich farm, and that's where she rode the ostrich.
On purpose?
On purpose. There's a picture of it.
We said she wouldn't do it, and we didn't really think she would get up on it, but she really did get on it, and she didn't have control of the ostrich because they are not easy to control. So this guy had her, but yes, she got on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. Yeah.
She was a force to be reckoned with.
She was in her 70s.
Yeah,
and she did this.
When
so,
she
yes.
did that, but even knowing her sense of humor, just her presence was incredible. And one encouraging thing that you have done is to write a book about your mom, and I have a copy of it right here. It's titled...
My sister and I did it.
Yes, it's titled My Mommy is a Missionary. And Sharon wrote it, and your sister illustrated it.
Right. And the reason I did it is I felt the Lord was saying, you need to do something to let people know what a missionary is, who a missionary is, and how women can be missionaries. And the basic thrust of the book is that we're all called to missions. It doesn't matter what we do. we're missionaries. So whether you're overseas or you're in in your own home country, if you are spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, you're a missionary. Mm-hmm. And I wanted children to know that. Mm-hmm. And so the book, basically, the pictures of it, I mean, it's very simplex. It's for younger children. But the book basically says, my mommy's a pilot, and she tells people about Jesus. My mommy's a teacher. She tells people about Jesus. Not just going to a foreign country. Mm-hmm. But anybody can be a missionary.
Sure.
And
yeah. What's it like balancing ministry like between the wealth in downtown Nairobi and the largest African slum, Kibera?
I've never actually been in Kibera. I've been in other slums. Now this is going to sound really bad, but I lived in Haiti, and the slum of Kibera is nowhere near as bad as the slum in Haiti. Mm. Nowhere near. It's not good, but it's not as bad. Now, yeah, there's a dichotomy for sure. And the reason for Kibera is, reality-wise, is that people came into Nairobi looking for work because they felt that being in Nairobi would be better economically for them than staying on their farms up country. In reality, they might make some money, a little bit of money, but life is not as good. And that's true of most slums. There are a number of mission organizations working with people in the slums, but it's not great. Kibera is sitting in what used to be a reservoir. So it can't be used as a reservoir. So Nairobi has problems with water, but it's not good. At the same time, what I've seen happen in Nairobi is a huge growth in the middle class and in Kenya itself. So yeah, there's the very, very rich, which they control government and so on and so forth. But there's this big rise in the middle class. So the people who work here at Roslyn are Kenyan workers. There was no way that they could afford a car before, but they have them now. So there are hopes that this can happen for people in the slums. I'm not involved in that, but we do service missionaries who are involved in that and working with the people in the slums. And if we weren't here, they wouldn't be here. Or they would have to be homeschooling their kids or, So it's not easy.
I can't even imagine. And bottom line, too, is ministering to such a diverse people. The bottom line is it doesn't matter what your wealth is. It doesn't matter if you're living in a penthouse or under a bridge somewhere. People need Christ. So I just love your stories and the opportunities that you've had and have dedicated your whole life to Christ and to sharing His love with others. So thank you so much.
It's what I grew up with. And just as other people grew up on farms, it's not any better or any worse. It just is. Mm-hmm. And this is what I've lived overseas most of my life, so it's normal for me. Yeah. But like when we're talking about the slums and so on, I told those ladies in our Bible study, we were talking about something one time, and I said, well, there's poor people in America. No, there's not. No, there are. There are people living in cardboard boxes. No, there aren't. They can't believe that things happen there as well. Wow. And we've got our own homeless crisis and so on. So it's not easy.
What's the ministry like to the families of the students from the school? And how's the growth of the middle class helped that?
I would say the main ministry is providing a solid, really good education. I would put us as the top educator in Kenya. Now that there are other schools who would probably say the same thing. So, but our kids get into upper class universities and other universities. You know, it's all over the place. So giving them a solid education, but we also, our mission is to work with students to give them to help them with their God-given gifts. Mm-hmm. So having worship teams and drama and service clubs and so on and so forth, those are all ways of helping them get their gifts out there, because some of these kids are going to go into government. Mm-hmm. No, it's so, like right now I've got the ambassador son from, I think it's Rwanda, in my class. Might he work for government? Yeah. We've got the Greek ambassador's twins at our school. So we're hitting governmental people and we're hitting UN people. We're like mission. They're going out into the world. And my hope is that they will go out into the world and preach the gospel. Now, directly to families, only in supporting them, not any direct programs for them per se.
Well, you are being an incredible impact on these kids' lives and really the lives of people many years to come.
Thank you. You are also, doing the same thing with your ministry. We're involved in ministries that help people, that encourage. And like I said, one is not more important than the other.
How can other people support you, support the school? What can we do?
So praying for us is for sure a way to do that. For me, for the school, for our leadership. You can go to the Roslyn website. If you type in Roslyn Academy, it will come up. I think we're the only one. But if something else comes up, put Nairobi, Kenya, and you can see what Roslyn looks like. What you'll see first off is that we have this big old house, and it was actually the plantation house. And it's our administration building now. And I'm off to the side of that in a little bit. And then if you want to contact me, you can email me. I have I'm supposed to do it more, but a prayer letter that goes out from time to time. And if you want to be on that, or you just want to write, my address is Sharon B, SHARONB @RoslynAcademy.com, ROSSLYN Academy.com. So now, if you want to support ministry, I do take support, and most of that goes into retirement stuff, because I get $100 and some of retirement a month from the school. It's not going far. And so it goes right into that. Or another way to support is to support a ministry that I'm involved with. So when I was in Haiti, we had a ministry to boys, and well, we would have had girls, but they didn't show up. So boys who were in the neighborhood. I don't want to call them street boys because they had homes for the most part. But one of them, who's now in his 40s, I think 40s, has started a school. And that school is being run as a ministry, really. And he named it after me, which is kind of embarrassing. So it's the Sharon Bressler Lycée, whatever. And he has little kids all the way up to big ones. And he charges a very minimal amount. He does not make money off of this. But they need money for rent and any kind of equipment they need and so on and so forth. The most embarrassing part is that, so I had this picture on Facebook of me with a Burger King crown on because we were playing this game, and if you won, you got to wear the crown. And so I posted this picture of me with this crown and going with the crown. And he has now splashed it on their uniforms, on their backpacks, and I don't know what else. It's kind of embarrassing.
Oh, that's awesome. No, that's awesome.
I'd wear that thing like it was a trophy or something. I think
we're gonna have to contact him.
It's on a blog. I don't know. Anyways,
we're gonna have to get some swag on that
to help with that ministry. They could contact me, and I would give them his contact so that they could send him money through. What is it? Anyway, they could send him money.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we like to ask all of our guests an interesting group of Fast 5 questions. Are you ready?
I don't know.
These are really profound.
Yes,
so get your thinking, thinking cap on, because the whole world's going to hear your answers here. So this is very important.
No.
Number 1. Are you ready, Sharon?
Sure.
Because we're really curious how this is in Kenya. Over or under toilet paper roll?
Over. And we don't have a toilet paper shortage either.
Okay.
The whole time you've had it, you've had that shortage. We have had toilet paper.
Yay.
Yay.
What is the most unique thing you have ever ordered online during this time?
Oh, wow.
And can you order online and get things in Kenya?
Okay, I could order online and get things here, but it would cost me so much money and I'd have to pay customs. So if I order anything, which I did, I ordered it and sent it to my now niece-in-law's apartment. And when I was there, I picked it up. So recently, the most interesting thing. Wow, I didn't order too much interesting. I think it would be like this. It's called a spork. And it's a spoon fork, but it also had some other little things. And I gave it to my brother-in-law for Christmas.
That's great. That's great. I do know that sometime when you were here for the summers and you would be packing to go home, there was something very interesting that you would pack in your suitcase.
I don't know.
You don't remember? Well,
maybe it wasn't interesting to me.
Well, no, it was interesting to everyone.
It was our toilet paper. That's why they don't have a shortage and we do.
It was not the toilet paper, but it had to do with mac and cheese.
Oh, not as much me as my brother-in-law.
Okay.
And what you do is he did this in November when we went back to the States. You buy the mac and cheese, take out the cheese packet, and leave the mac.
Yeah,
it weighs way too much.
A lot of mac and cheese. Here. Yeah, a lot of mac and cheese was donated to the food pantry when they were headed back.
All that macaroni.
Okay.
Yes.
Next question. Are you ready? Sometimes when life is too stressful for me and spending time with the Lord, we go do something fun. Like Jesus and I, we hula hoop, and he's much better at it than I am. What do you do that's fun with Jesus?
I'm not a hula hooper for sure. I would say spending time with my dog. Like, my sister gave me a dog 5 years ago, and I thought, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with this thing? You just gave me a dog. It has been the best thing. And, during COVID, she has been a lifesaver because she is always here. Right now, she's sitting at my feet.
Hey, Cece.
When my dad died, I came home and I cried. And I hugged her, and she came up to me. So I don't know if we call it fun. I mean, she's fun. I've got the toy, in my hands because she brought it to me, and I'm sitting here messing with it. And
Definitely
you
a
know, throw
comfort.
it for her now.
Definitely
But
a comfort, though.
probably that's the most fun.
Yeah.
What is something you would hate to go without for a day? And it can be something Kenyan versus U.S.
Wow. Like I like internet, but we don't always have it. And sometimes our electricity's out and then we really don't have it. I think water,
Wow.
because, well, I lived in Haiti. And one time while we were there, we were under embargo. And during that time, for about a month, we had 2 hours of electricity. And I could cope with that. Fortunately, we had some water in a storage thing, and so I hired a guy to bring it into my house. Here, our water comes straight to us, so if it's cut off, we have nothing. And I think water, because you can't do much without it.
Well, one final question for you. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, say as an 18-year-old, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh my. Oh, wow. Probably, so when this sounds really vain, maybe, I don't know. So when I was younger, I was really into sports and stuff. And I just decided, I just don't care if people like how I dress or if I wear makeup or anything like that. And I don't know if that kept me from getting married, because I was kind of like, if they want me, they'll take me. Well, they didn't. So maybe that, or maybe it would just be nicer, because sometimes I'm pretty strong in my opinions, and I probably needed to learn not to be earlier. Because I still am. And so, if you talk to me, you know me.
I think
Maybe that's not a good thing.
I think you take a lot of that from your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. You know how when you're younger, you don't think you're like your mom? Yeah, I was. I am.
Well, Sharon, thank you so much for joining us today and taking the time out of your evening, because it's about 9-hour difference.
Yeah, it's about 6:43 right now.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you coming on and talking with us, and just thank you for all of your years of service and hard work and humor and just you being you.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. I don't get to do this kind of thing very often.
Well, we love you. God bless you, Sharon.
Take care, hon.
Thank you so much. Love you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.